Hey, what's up YouTube? Luso here, Team D Plus Gaming, here to give you kind of a one last minute deck profile before Nationals. Just kind of something to give you guys something to think about, a new way to play Elemental Dragons. I haven't seen this done before. I've had a lot of fun playing it this way. I've been perfecting it slowly, and I want to get this posted again before Nationals, just to give you guys something to think about. To me, in a way, this is almost a more effective way to play Elemental Dragons, and it's a lot cheaper way to play Elemental Dragons. You get to use the dragons without some of their negative side effects. You don't need Mecha Phantom Beast, Dracosac, and number 11 Big Eye. Again, if you have them, it's all the better. It just adds to it. But they're not really necessary. This is more of a self-sufficient main deck. I was posed right before Tachyon Galaxy came out with the task of creating a deck that combines meta with anti-meta, and these two decks just really meshed better than anything else I had ever seen, and they meshed a lot better than I was hoping they would. And so what this is Elemental Dragons combined with Orichalco Skill Drain. Orichalco Skill Drain was an anti-meta deck that was kind of phased out the middle of last format. And kind of the whole point of anti-meta is to be a cheap deck that's a lot of fun to play, and it's still very competitive and faces the meta. And so going into this weekend, there's going to be a lot of meta, almost entirely is going to be there. You won't run into hardly any rogue decks, so to speak. So you're going to be seeing lots of spellbooks and lots of elemental dragons, and a few tidal mermaids and evil swarm and stuff, but those are kind of the big two. And so this definitely has great matchups against both of those, and I'll kind of explain that as I go along. I haven't decided on a name for this yet. Again, I haven't seen anybody else profile anything remotely similar to this, and so I was hoping you guys could help me out with the name for it. The three names I've got it narrowed down to are Elemental Skill Drain, Dragon Drain, and Skilled Dragons. So if you have any thoughts on those three names, please post in the comment below. I will be looking out for that to come up with an official name for it. But I'm just going to get into the profile now. Elemental Dragon main deck is not very expensive. You can get a full set of like baby and big dragons for like $60 or less at this point. Other cards like Super Rejuve and Gold Sark are going down in price. And so, I mean, this build is very budget. Be kind of the bulk of the Elemental Dragon cost is in the extra deck. I mean, Big Eye's around like $80 a piece, and Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosac is still around like 115 or so. And so those are just really hard to come by. And so, I mean, if you don't have to worry about those, it's not a bad deck to build. So you've got your three of each of the big dragons, two of the baby dragons, again, standard, same as always. I'm not going to go into the big dragons' effects or baby dragons either, just because I went over those in the Elemental Dragon deck profile that I posted here not too long back. And so I went into depth in the mechanics of those cards there. And so if you want a refresher, please watch that video so it gets a few more views. Otherwise, I'm just going to go through this fairly fast and explain the kind of new twists to it. So 3 Tempest, and then to go with that, 2 Lightning. Then you have 3 Tidal with 2 Stream. Next up is 3 Redox. And with him, instead of Reactant, Ruler of Pebbles, you have your Beast King Barbaros. Again, he's kind of a Skill Drain Orichalcos specialty card. You can normal summon him without tributing, or you can, and when you do, he has reduced attack, but then when you activate Skill Drain, his attack goes back up to 3,000, becomes the beat stick that this deck really didn't have before. And so, I mean, 3,000 attack is great, because otherwise you've got Redox with 1,600 attack, but a great defensive wall with 3,000 defense. Tidal with 2,600 attack. Tempest 2,400. And then next up you've got Blaster with 2,800, which shows another great beat stick for the deck. And then with him you have your 2 Burner. So then from there, you've since this is Elemental Dragons, to keep up, you have 3 Super Rejuvenations. These take the place of the Pasta Duality that was in the Skill Drain Orichalcos originally, and I mean, these more than compensate for that. They make it faster than ever. Then you've got 2 gold sarcophagus. Again, not hard to come by at this point, and they help you search through anything you need. You can search out Skill Drain if you need it. You can search out your Seal of Orichalcos. You can banish the dragon to get their effects. And then just so it's a more conservative playstyle, you have a Burial from a different dimension. So that kind of wraps out the Elemental Dragon portion of it. Like I said, 2 skill drains there. But then going into the more of the skill drain portion of this deck, you have your 3 skill drain. So this is kind of the key card and what makes this deck tick. You pay the 1,000 life points, then all face-up effect monsters on the field, their effects are negated. And so with the big dragons, they have the kind of side effect of the if they were special summoned during the end phase of your opponent's next turn, they return to your hand. And so that's why the way they're played now, they're constantly going into their rank 7 XYZs. And so with Skill Drain on the field, they no longer return to your hand because that effect is negated. You can still special summon them because your hand effects and graveyard effects aren't negated, and so you can still do that just fine. But with Skill Drain, the field effects are negated. And so even if you activate Skill Drain, your opponent's turn happens, and then it's back to your turn. Your opponent then activates something that destroys Skill Drain. Your dragons still stay because they passed that next end phase. Also to go with that for the attack manipulation as well as to help out with Skill Drain until it gets there, you have Forbidden Chalice. You have 2 of those in there. And then since Skill Drain also works for your opponent, with Elemental Dragons being so prominent and there's constantly being mirror matches, you have Seal of Orichalcos. Now, I mean, that might seem like a big drawback at first, because when this is activated, all special summon monsters that you control return, or are sent to the graveyard, I should say. And so that's a really big side effect, but then you realize you're playing Elemental Dragons, and they have such a high performance, they bounce back so fast from stuff like that. They can wipe your field, and you can just go off right again. You can keep banishing others to re-special summon them to your side of the field, and then Skill Drain, they stay there. And so you're not wasting as many resources as in actual Elemental Dragons, because you don't have to keep banishing over and over again. And so with that gives you an extra 500 attack boost over your opponent's dragons. And so it really just kind of helps you out. I mean, plus with Beast King, he's up to 3,500 with that. And so, I mean, that helps out a lot. And plus, this way, I mean, you're not using your extra deck, which is good and bad to it. But, I mean, again, if you don't have the cards, it's a great way to use the Elemental Dragons. You have some staples here, Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, and Heavy Storm. Again, Dark Hole's fine, because you can just re-special summon, re-spam the field. Heavy Storm is kind of the iffy one here. I might try and trade that out for something with more spot treatment, like MST, just because you want to keep the Seal of Orichalcos, which can't be destroyed once per turn, so that's fine, but then Skill Drain is the other one you want to keep on board at all times. And so, with that, I mean, it's kind of good and bad. Then you move into some more of your traps. You have room to play around here. I've been using a Compulsory Evacuation Device, a Torrential Tribute, a Bottomless Trap Hole, Starlight Road, just because, again, you want to keep a hold of Skill Drain and Seal of Orichalcos. Even with Seal of Orichalcos, you can't use your extra deck to special summon Stardust, but just the fact you get to take and negate that and keep your spells and traps on board is the reason for it. And then 2 Dark Bribes, just because, yes, your opponent does get some hand advantage due to that, but at the same time, you've got 3 Super Rejuvenations, you're getting more hand advantage than they can ever keep up with. Then other things I've got right now, I've got a few cards side decked. I have a 3rd Beast King in the side deck. I have 3 Fusilier Dragons side decked, and then I've got 2 deck devs, not deck devs, EEV viruses, Eradicator Epidemic viruses, sorry. And that's just for the spellbook matchup. With Fusilier Dragon, if you set him, he's still a virus target. If you have Skill Drain on board, you can just normal summon him again. He doesn't require tributes, but he's a reduced attack. Skill Drain negates that reduced attack. And so he's a great virus target. Completely shuts down spellbooks. Again, Skill Drain, your opponent tries to do something like Draco Sack or Big Eye. You can just chain Skill Drain, and now they got a 2,600 attack monster on their side of the field that they had to waste 2 dragons to create. And then your dragons have Blaster has 2800. Title can tie it. Beast King has more. Fusilier Dragon has more. But the other thing is you have Silavori Calcos, so then you have an extra 500 anyways. And so then even Tempest can get over their Big Eye or whatever. The other matchup you have to be concerned about is Spellbooks. Again, you've got a Virus Target, which is great, something that dragons don't usually have. As well as you have, again, you have Skill Drain. Because with Skill Drain you can take and it negates the monster effects on the field. And so your opponent is trying to use like Jaugen and Koiku as kind of anti-meta options in spellbooks at the moment, as kind of outs to elemental dragons. Well, you're negating the effects of those. And so then your opponent gains essentially nothing by using those instead of High Priestess, which again, it gets around High Priestess as well. And so this is kind of my new outlook on elemental dragons. This is the way I've had more fun playing it, actually. There's a little bit more dimension to this build than basic elemental dragons. And so please let me know your thoughts. Again, this is something that's completely new. I haven't seen anybody do anything remotely similar to this yet on YouTube. And so if you like what you see, please comment, like, subscribe as you see fit. And again, I'm looking to name this. So if you have any comments for the name, please put in the comments below. I will be checking back. Otherwise, it's Luso with Team D Plus Gaming, signing out.